Good day, everyone, and welcome to this special edition video. Fred here, going to run through the session with you today. And this particular video has to do with creating your ATMs. And I'm not going to waste a lot of words because we need to get into the guts of this right away. So before we start talking about actually how to create the ATMs, we need to make a discussion first on risk reward. One of the things that's not really understood by most beginner traders when they start trading. And if you don't understand risk reward, you're going to find that you're not going to be very successful. In fact, the most often complaint I hear from new traders and old traders actually is that, Fred, I'm running at an 80% strike rate, so my signal is paying 4 out of every 5 times, but I'm not making any money. And as soon as I hear that, I know that they're trading with an improper risk reward. Let me see if I can go to specifics here. If I'm trading at a 1-to-1, if I look right up here, maybe I'll just switch this to this. If I'm trading at 1-to-1 risk reward, then I need to be right 50% of the time to break even. Okay. So if I'm going for a 20 tick target and my stop is legitimately each time 20 ticks, that's trading at 1-to-1 risk reward. As long as I'm 51 times out of 100, I'm right. Well, I'm going to be making money, right? Now we want our strike rate. And there's no reason that your strike rate on your particular trade isn't over 80%. If it's not over 80%, then we need to evaluate your signal and which ones you're taking and why. A lot of people would say you can't trade at 80% strike rate. We do it all the time. Okay. So 1-to-1, I want to trade at 1-to-1 risk reward or better all the time. And at most 2-to-1 against me. If I'm trading at 2-to-1 against me, I have to be right 66% of the time, 66% strike rate just to break even. That's not to make any profit. That's just to break even. All right. And it gets worse. So you can see if I'm trading at 3, in other words, I'm going for that same 20 tick target and I got a 60 tick stop continuously, I have to be right 75% of the time just to break even. Okay. So we never want to trade, and as a rule, I always trade with the risk reward at 2-to-1 against me or less. And there are situations where you can get it in your favor, where you're trading 2-to-1 in your favor, where you only have to be right 33% of the time to break even, right? And then your profit is going to be between the minimum and what your actually strike rate is. So if I'm trading at 1-to-1 risk reward, and I'm doing an 80% strike rate, well, then I'm doing really particularly well. So how do I recognize, or how do I make it so that I know that I'm always trading at the proper risk reward all the time? And you'll do that with your ATMs. All right. So please understand risk reward and how important it is. If you're trying to take those efficient candles on in the market, and you have 100, 120 ticks, which is not hard to do on NQ, and you're going for a 20 tick target, I can guarantee you're not going to make any money in the long run. Okay. Your strike rate can be amazing, but that kind of risk reward is just going to be out of touch. So the more risk you have to take, the more you have to set your targets, which brings us to another point. Most beginner traders, and even those that have been around for a while, like even myself, don't like holding risk for a long period of time. And even now, after all this time, I still don't like it. I'm not one of those that wants to be in the trade for an hour, and watch it go up and down. I want to get in and out. I want to make my money. And I don't like holding risk for a long period of time. And there are a lot of people like that. So what are we going to do? Are we going to wait until we fix our psychological issues to start trading well and making money? Or are we going to adjust our way of thinking and dealing with the market that's more in line with how we are already think? All right, so there's no reason to try and fix yourself. Let's go ahead and make ATMs that will help us and don't put us through a lot of anxiety. All right. I found that the people who try to hold their risk for a long period of time and they're not used to it, they'll start moving their stops way too quickly. All right. So if I know this about human nature, that fear is going to take over more often than not, then how do I make an ATM where I can get out of risk as quickly as possible and still be a profitable trader with proper risk reward. All right. Well, I'm going to show you how to make these ATMs right now. All right, so let's go. How do we go? I know what I did is I deleted my entire quiver of ATMs here, just so I could recreate them here for you. So let's go ahead and do it. Obviously, I've made the chart trader panel much larger right here. And one of the things that we want to do, besides make the ATMs proper with the proper risk reward, we want to format them in my chart trader screen so that I can find them easily. I mean, I take a look at what some people's ATM strategy list looks like, and I'm going, how do you ever find what it is you're looking for in the heat of the moment? And basically, most people can't. You're going to wind up using the same 2 or 3 ATMs for most of your trades. So let's make them so we can find them easily. Let's create them so that we don't have to hold risk for a long period of time. And let's make them so that we can have the proper risk reward on all of our trades. All right, so let's go ahead and do it right now. All right, you see as my list, I have absolutely nothing on my list. Now, we want to format these so that these are easy to find. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to customize. This doesn't matter because we're just going to save the headers. All right, so we're just going to save this template. Doesn't make any difference what it is because it's just going to be a placeholder, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to call this A. We're going to put a little dash after it, and then we're going to have 5 spaces, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to name this section, which is going to be Delta ATMs. Okay, and we're going to save that. All right, then we're going to save another template. Keep this all up on your screen. All right, we're going to save a template, and now we're going to save this as AZ hyphen, and that's it. I don't want anything after it. Save. Okay, just hit OK. Now, what does this look like? All right, so I have an A, and it says Delta ATMs. So all my Delta ATMs are going to fall between A and AZ. All right, we'll come back and we'll do them later. But let's finish setting up our screens first, then we'll get into the actual ATMs. So hit custom again. Let's save the template. Now we're going to save this as B hyphen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And I'm going to put velocity 50 minus. Just bear with me here. Put velocity 50 minus. Okay. If you don't want to use velocity, whoops. If you don't want to use the term velocity, I think we're going to have, you can use PMI, which should be one of our indicators. So when the PMI is under 50, I'm going to have all of my ATMs under B to BZ. So again, save template one more time. Make this BZ, save it, hit OK. All right, so I have one says PMI 50, one says this. So just remove the one you don't want. We'll go with PMI. All right, and you see we're setting off sections. So when the PMI is under 50, I'm going to have a whole set of ATMs here. Now, why? Because the velocity is going to dictate how much risk I'm going to need. So I need to create ATMs that deal with that type of risk and with the appropriate targets. So I'm trading at the right risk reward. All right, so we're going to make a couple more sections like this. Let's go ahead and custom again. And save template. And then we're going to have C space 2, 3, 4, 5 PMI space 51 through 99. Okay. So we'll save that as a header, and then we're going to save template again. So hit left click on save template, backspace, and go CZ. Okay. Great. You can put the dash in, don't put the dash in, whatever. All right, so now we're going to save another template. And now we're going to save D hyphen 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 PMI 100 plus. Okay. And we're going to hit save template again, left click. And then you're going to do DZ, save. All right, so what does it look like? Save templates. Okay, see how it looks? Here are my deltas, all going to be in the A section. All of my ATMs that deal with a PMI of or a velocity of under 50 here. 51 to 99 velocity goes into C. Anything over 100 velocity is going to go into D. All right. So now we're going to do E. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. ES ATMs. Okay, so we're going to make these for I'm not sure about oil and gold. You may want to make, different sections for those as well. But we're going to put in E, we're going to have our ES ATMs. And then we're going to save template again. And we're going to do EZ. Okay. And then one more section we're going to make, and that's F space 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. One target, one contract, ATMs. Now, I do not like one target, one contract ATMs. Now, and I'll show you why in just a second. We're going to go ahead and create them just so you can get a better understanding of what the risk reward actually is looking like. Then we'll save a template again. So left click on that, or erase all that, put FZ, and hit save. All right, so these are the sections that I'm going to be using and placing my ATMs in. All right, and then we're going to start down the bottom. We're going to do one contract, one target, one contract ATMs, so we can show how risk reward works. And then we'll move into the two contract, two target ATMs, which I want everybody really to start at. And I'll show you why in just a second. So when you have everything set up like this, you're good to go. And here we go. All right, so we're going to start with F. So I'm going to go to custom. Custom, we're going to do F1. Oops, save a template. F1 A hyphen 1, 2, 3. 4, 5. Make it 5 again. All right, 5 spaces after the F1A hyphen space. The first ATM we're going to make is an 11 tick target. So we always put our targets first. There's 11 ticks for my target. I'm going to put double space. I'm going to do a hyphen, and I'm going to do another double space, and then I'm going to put my risk. Now, if you're doing a 1-to-1 risk reward, this would be a 10 tick stop loss. Very hard to get into a trade on NQ with 10 tick stop loss. So I'm going to start this one and only this one at 20. All right, so this is 2-to-1 against me right off the bat. I'm going to put a space, and 2 spaces in there, and do capital D, capital R. Well, no, I'm not going to do that. No. Okay, because we're not de-risking quickly. The DR stands for de-risk. All right, so I'm going to say save, and I'm going to create that ATM. All right, so quantity 1, stop loss is going to be 20. Profit is going to be 11. I don't have a stop loss strategy for this one. One target, save template. There it is right there. We've already created it, and we hit save. We want to replace it. Yes, we do. Hit OK. All right, so I do it in my drop-down list now, and there's my very first ATM. It's a single target of 11. Why do I choose 11s? I want to build the fees that are involved in trading into my target. So it costs me about $4 per contract per trade on NQ to trade. Each tick is worth $5. So I want to make sure that I pay my fees and still have a 10 tick clearance, a net result right there. So I just add 1 to all of my targets just to take care of the fees. Okay.